So after many tears and many disappointments, I finally unlocked my S-TAC 1911. It only took me, 3 weeks of in-game being out, but it's actually one of the more tedious assignment chains that I've actually had the privilege of completing. This and the MK3A1 and perhaps the L85 win 5 rounds of squad deathmatch. Those are some of the more elusive assignments, especially the squad deathmatch, because it's really hard to find people who actually play that these days. But I finally unlocked it, and it was an interesting journey, and I'm going to take you guys through my journey, some of the ups and downs of it. And capturing the flags and returning the flags is actually pretty simple, you would think. You're like, oh, that's not too hard, but the problem is getting people to cooperate. It's either like you're on a really good team or you're on a really bad team. And if you're on a really good team, getting the 2 flag caps is nothing. You can do that by yourself, which you see me doing here. Going Rambo style with the flag sticking out of the back of my dirt bike. I've always thought this looks really cool, the dirt bike with the American flag just sticking out of the back. But it's not too hard. You can do this pretty much by yourself. The dirt bikes are quick enough. You can get from point A to point B. You get your 2 flag caps and you're good to go. But getting the 5 returns, now that's where it was a little bit tricky. Because if you're on a really bad team, more times than not, you're not going to have an opportunity to return the flag. But if you're on a really good team, you're going to have the same problem because you're never going to let them take it in the first place. So I actually had to train myself to let them step outside of the base with the flag before I killed them, and then I could recapture it. Because that way, you were at less of a risk, and it was much easier that way because otherwise it auto returns and you never unlock that assignment. So that actually took me a lot longer than I had anticipated. Now another one I actually had problems with was destroy 5 air vehicles with the anti-air jeeps. And you're like, oh, that's simple, use the lock-on spam missiles, they're down in an instant. Well, you would think it would be easy, but the problem I ran into is everybody wanted to drive my jeep off and get me killed. And that happened so many times. I was getting so frustrated yesterday. I had this guy who kept hopping in the jeep and driving into nowhere, or I'd get out and start repairing it, and next thing I know, he's hopped into my second spot, and I can't destroy aircraft by just ramming into them because I'm just a jeep. I need my lock-on missiles. So that was a little bit frustrating. But the one thing that everyone seems to be most frustrated with is the one I've actually found to be pretty easy, which is destroy 1 enemy IFV with an airdropped IFV and destroy a enemy transport vehicle from an airdropped IFV. Pretty simple, not really that hard. The problem is you just gotta find one. I found that Nebadon Flats is actually the easiest to do this on just because it's so wide open. As you're dropped from the drop ship, you actually can see where everything's at. You can kind of spot IFVs from pretty far away, and it's pretty simple to say, oh, okay, I need to go over here, engage this IFV, complete my assignment. I don't really care if I die. That's kind of the mentality I took. And I finally completed it after a lot of rounds. I thought that this would be pretty easy. I mean, it's not hard. It's just, like I said, it's more like an Easter egg hunt. It's like, okay, I need to find this IFV. Where are you at? Once you do find it, though, you can probably complete it pretty quickly if you've got someone who actually wants to drive theirs around. Well, like I said, not really a difficult task, just more of a timing thing. And killing 1 enemy soldier in the airdropped IFV, you guys should be able to do that simply. So I did complete this pretty quickly. Like I said, though, the anti-air jeeps was probably the most frustrating of the vehicle type things, just because it seemed like everybody wanted to steal my jeep. I don't know what is with people. The Battlefield community has really felt selfish lately. I'm sitting here trying to be a team player, shoot down aircrafts, and I get people hopping into my jeep and driving me off into suicide land, and that's pretty freaking frustrating. But I did find that you can actually get the 5 aircraft destroys by shooting them with the rocket pods themselves. So I actually got more destroys with the rocket pods than I actually did the lock-ons, because people do play pretty tentatively. They tend to play really far back in the helicopters on the in-game maps for whatever reason. I think one of the reasons is a lot of the attack choppers can actually shoot from point A to point B without actually leaving their spawn. So it's much more advantageous for them to just stay in their spawn and shoot TV missiles and rocket pods and stuff back where you can't lock onto them, and oftentimes they can destroy you from pretty far away. So I guess that is a tad frustrating, especially since it should be pretty easy, as you see me unlock yet another one of my requirements to get the IFV from above assignment, which is destroy 1 transport vehicle. But like I said, this isn't really a hard challenge. It's just more of a painstaking type thing. It's more like an endeavor. And when I set out to do this, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this S-TAC. I'm gonna do a showdown on it. But I didn't unlock it in time to release the showdown on Friday because it was just taking me so much longer. And I'm like, okay, I finally see an enemy IFV over here. This is the moment I'm finally going to unlock this stupid assignment so I can move on and get some of the easier ones, because it seems like the harder ones are the first couple ones, and once you unlock the other ones, they're pretty simple. Not really that difficult, and I finally win this battle and I unlock the next round of assignments. So IFV out of the way. I know a lot of people had a lot of problems with this, but like I said, it's not super difficult. I mean, once I found where he was at, I could win the battle pretty easily. It's just more of a finding him to begin with. So that was pretty simple. Now, was this grind really worth it? Is the S-TAC even really that good? And you know, honestly, I guess it's not a bad pistol. I mean, it's nice to be able to have more variety. But it definitely was not worth the grind. I'm going to be honest. I mean, it's simply a silenced 1911 with a flashlight, and I don't even use the flashlight pistols that much. They're only really good on a couple of maps like Turan Highway, perhaps maybe. You know, maps like Grand Bazaar. Metro is a really good map for flashlights. We all know that. We've known that since the alpha. But I think for the most part, this is really not that groundbreaking. It was not worth the grind. I will tell you that much. Once I finally got it, I was like, man, I don't really know what I was expecting. It's just a silenced 1911 with a flashlight on the front. But I guess if you like tactical weapons like this, I guess this is a nice weapon for you. It is a nice change of pace if you want a silenced 1911 with a flashlight. So it is the only one of its kind. I am a big fan of the 1911 to begin with, so I guess it's nice to have 3 different versions of the 1911. And hey, it is the only pistol in the game that comes with a suppressor and a flashlight, so I guess that is something that kind of sets it apart from the group. Yeah, but it's kind of counterproductive if you think about it, because the idea of a suppressor is to be stealthy, but a flashlight basically just gives you away. Kind of weird to think about. It's like, okay, there's not much tacticalness behind the S-TAC 1911. It seems to be less than tactical. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I just wanted to take you through some of the steps and tiers that I went through. And if you missed any of my other videos, here's a chance to catch up, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.